Wanted to turn the time over. One of our resident experts on digital marketing and is applying artificial intelligence to what he's doing, which is really changing rapidly. And I use it daily myself. Probably not anywhere to the extent that some of you are. I know Professor Paul is playing around with AI on a daily basis and now even teaching classes on it. But Michael's got a whole team that's using AI daily and building campaigns for their clients. So looking forward to your presentation, Michael. We'll turn the time over to you.
Right on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep. Right on.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. I'm running off an app that I don't normally run, and I had my team throw this together for us last night. So I actually got to see this little overview today.
Awesome.
Like throwing it on the very end. But hello, everybody. My name is Michael Hamburger. I came back to the group while I was in Florida for the summer. We escaped the miserable dry heat here in Arizona. I'd still be in Florida right now, but my kids start school. Makes zero sense to me why we start school so close to the summertime. But anyway, Michael Hamburger, I'm one of the founders of an agency by the name of Easy Digital Marketing. A little bit about my background. I got into digital marketing back in 2003. So I always thank Vice President Al Gore for inventing the internet, or I may still be in law enforcement or telecom and data. I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps prior to getting into the civilian world. And I worked on helicopters and I was in law enforcement in the Marine Corps. But I just always had a knack. I loved being on the computer. When the computers first came out, I was a master at solitaire back when that was like really the only game to play. But really just fell in love with the internet and got introduced to network marketing, the MLM space, in 1998, and really thought I saw something cool there, but I didn't really want to go and pitch all my friends and family. So it was a short blip in that space. But I got reintroduced to network marketing in 2003. And the guys that I was working with at the time were showing me how to talk to people that I didn't know. Basically, I was placing ads, whether it was in newspapers or magazines, and I didn't have to talk to my friends and my family and people like that, which to me was brilliant because I was making a really good income working for one of the 3-letter telecom agencies at the time. And so in 2004, somebody that I had enrolled in my business was making just like this crazy money. And I called him one day and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm buying keywords." And it was Google AdWords. And I said, "What the heck does that mean that you're buying keywords?" And he was my neighbor here in Scottsdale. He said, "Hey, I'll be at your house in 10 minutes. He walks in my door, says, "Give me your computer and your credit card." So I gave him both. And within 10 minutes, I was buying keywords too, which meant I was now on Google. And back then I could generate leads for like 25 cents each. And what I learned then, it was like, the first time, the stories, the first time is free if you have a drug dealer. That's how I felt, because I was able to buy a keyword, and with a matter of days, I was making really big money selling stuff on the internet. Like, man, this is just brilliant. And, so in that space, I learned digital marketing. And then I had some people that attacked me online, said a bunch of erroneous and just hateful things about me. And then I started learning how to do SEO and reputation management. So I was able to bury, with the name Hamburger, Michael Hamburger. If you Google me, you're going to see that I barely show up on the front page anymore. And that's by design. I wanted to suppress the negative stuff that was written about me and really elevate anything that was positive, either about and I thought I was the only Michael Hamburger until there was the internet. And then I realized there was a famous author who escaped the Holocaust and went to the UK and became an author. There's a high power attorney out of Manhattan with the name. Anytime there's an earthquake, Michael Hamburger, who's a professor at the University of Indiana, he's a seismologist, shows up. And then there's the guy that was the internet marketer, right? So I was able to learn a little bit about that. And as my career path went, I went from being a guy who was working in the space to a guy that was running companies that was doing this. I left the field and went and worked at a MLM corporate company where, because of the internet, we were able to take a company that had gone from 100 million to 20 million. They brought me in, we went to $190 million. And it was all about using this thing called the internet. So I just really fell in love with it. But then I decided many years ago to start my own agency. And so One of the first things I did is I bought a ClickFunnels account. And what I learned very quickly in that very first day is I am not a designer. I'm not a copywriter. I'm a great leader and I'm a great visionary. So let me surround myself with incredible guys. So what we did is we put together the agency, and I've got guys that are just absolute experts in every single piece that we do. But I really want to share with you guys here today the 4 components that I feel make an internet-based offer strong. And it's really the 4 key components. We call it our core 4 are going to be assets, offers, audience, and strategy. So I'm just curious, and I can see here on the side of my screen a bunch of your faces. Just by a show of hands, who has a website? Who has a website today that they have? Right. So I see 2 people just in the list that I have here. 3, Martin, Paul, 4. Okay, and I can only see Breck, Bob, Martin, Paul, and Patrick right now. And Martin, thank you for being the only person 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did the LinkedIn piece. Thank you for being the only person that went to my page and gave me some love, other than I think Breck. If I can help you in any way, Martin, I'm here to serve, man. So I just want to say thanks. I saw you raise your hand. Want to remind myself to thank you for that. But assets really are going to be the key components that people are going to use to find you on the internet. And we believe there's 2 kinds of assets. There's owned and earned. If you go to easy.com or any of our easy websites, those are owned assets, meaning they're WordPress sites that we have hosted. They're funnels that we may have on one of our many platforms. So that's like our sites. But then there's the earned assets. Earned assets are going to be your LinkedIn page, your review sites that you don't own, social media, stuff like that. All that makes a difference. Number one, when somebody Googles you or Googles your company, what shows up on that front page is going to be critical. And those are your assets. I'll talk about that in a minute. Offers are going to be what you're selling, right? And what I've found being online, selling over $1 billion of stuff online over the last 20 years, is that most business owners, they try to sell the shovel, whatever their widget is, instead of trying to sell what somebody's looking for. And I'm a big believer, if you're out in your yard and you've got a tree that's just put in, or here in Arizona, you've got a new swallow they're going to put in, you're not thinking, man, I need a shovel. You're thinking, I need a hole. And especially online. So we really work with our clients and say, look, think of your offer from the viewer, the buyer's eyeballs, and not your eyeballs. Yes, you're going to sell shovels, but if you sell the hole, pardon me, the psychological version of selling the hole, naturally the consumer buys the shovel if they don't have one. And so we help our customers craft the right offer, so it's not about them, it's about the buyer, the end user, right? Weight loss, you can think about so many different ways. We sell CBD and all kinds of things that a lot of agencies have a hard time selling. And it's because we look at it from an ailment area, right? So if somebody's buying CBD, they're not looking to just say, man, I want the CBD. They're like, look, I have inflammation, I have anxiety, I have all these different pieces that go along with it. So we will really tie that into the offer. All right. So what we look to do is draw a line literally across the 4 of these. Hang on, let me just move you guys over so I can see the rest of my screen. There we go. 4th piece of our core 4 is going to be the audience. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a man, I'm a male, human, my gender, which can be kind of, I guess, a highly polarized conversation these days. But if somebody's sending offers in front of me that might be for female-based products, skincare, personal health, etc., even though I'm a girl dad and I'm the only male other than my little Chewini in my house, I'm not the right audience, right? So yes, my kids, or my wife might say, hey, honey, stop and pick up XYZ product for the girls and I. Again, I'm not the right audience. Making sure you have the right offer in front of the right audience is critical. If you're selling healthcare, Breck, you want to make sure you're putting it in front of somebody who's over 18, most likely, a decision maker, maybe a head of a household. If you're talking with somebody that is a business owner and you're selling a corporate solution, putting your offer in front of the guy that's out on the line doing the grunt work, whatever that is, can be a waste of ad spend, waste of media buy. But then putting it in front of the right decision maker, that's where things become critical. And that's where you can really see the assets, the offer, and the audience start working together. With the audience, we really look at traffic, right? Breck, I found you and Bob, or you guys found me through LinkedIn. I don't know how we found each other. It's been 2, 3, 4 years. I can't remember how long. but having the right audience with the right traffic channel is going to be critical. Paul, I've heard you talk so much over my time here with the group. I know that you get this, right? And I know that you're like the doctor of a lot of the stuff you talk, like GMB. I really took away from the conversation you had about Google My Business a year or so ago and said, dude, this dude gets it, right? If you have to look at where your traffic sources are to know who you're selling to. You know, if I talk to my kids, I'm a girl dad. Like I said, I've got a 16-year-old, I got a 12-year-old, and I'm the old guy on Facebook. I told my 16-year-old the other day, hey, you know, your grandparents and your aunts, your uncles, everybody said happy birthday to you on Facebook. She said, Dad, I never log in. That's for old people. And I said, I know. That's why I'm telling you to go log in so you can at least acknowledge your family and tell them thank you. Because I guess people don't send cards anymore. We go to social media and say happy birthday, right? But knowing where your audience lives and where they're going to be looking for your right type of audience is critical. And it's going to really help and assist that you're not wasting media dollars in ad spend. You know, so like I've got a product here on my desk. You guys remember the shake weight? Anybody remember the shake weight? So the guy who invented the shake weight's was a client of ours. Right? He did over $500 million with that little novelty device, and it got a lot of play. Right. But he came to us a couple of years ago, just in the beginning of the pandemic, and said, I've got 12 products. What do you guys think would sell the best? And we looked at all the products he had, and we said, you know what? You've got this bacon cooker, and I've got my thing on my little dealio. Let's just put it here. You've got this bacon cooker that you basically put the bacon in, raw bacon in, you slap these pieces together, you put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, and out comes perfect bacon. And we thought, you know, that'll be a great product to sell. So looking at that product in general, would I want to put it on Snapchat? And there wasn't TikTok back then, at least it wasn't as big. No, Snapchat's not the right place. Do I want to put that on LinkedIn? No, LinkedIn's got the highest financial, or people that make the most money financially, or on LinkedIn. Probably not the right place for that. Don't want to put it on Google, because Google is an intent-based search. Probably want to put it on Instagram and Facebook, which now they call Meta, where it's disruptive, right? So knowing where the right audience lives and the right traffic can be paramount in the success of your campaigns, whether you have campaigns out there or not. I can tell you this, we sold thousands and thousands of these little bacon cookers. We had the right audience, we had the right assets, we had the right offer, we had the right traffic, as well as we had the right time. We did it during the Thanksgiving to Christmas time as a test to see, okay, Black Friday through the Christmas shopping season. We sold thousands of these little bacon cookers, and we thought, you know what, this is a great product. We should go ahead and build it, because we hadn't built anything except other than the prototype. You know, but we were able to use a lot of the assets, offers, audience, traffic, along with the strategy to see, was it worth investing 100,000 plus to build this product? And the client went out and built it after our test, and they've sold tons of these. You'll see them on TV from time to time. But you know, the core 4 assets, offers, audience / traffic, the strategy, those 4, if you can draw a line between the offer that is congruent with the assets, with the right audience, the right traffic. You know, I know Breck was talking a little about AI. I'm not going to get into too much AI today, but I will if you guys want me to in a Q&A session. But these 4, I really want you to write down and think about, you know, is the message right? Right? Is the website right? Does it portray the message that you want it to be? And I'm happy, Bob, you can take a picture, but I'm happy if you guys want me to share this with you. If you'll just put your email in the chat. I'm actually going to give you guys a course too today as well that we just developed, and I'll get into that here just in a second. Let me just get back to where the screen will move. Oh, there we go. You know, the main areas that we focus on as an agency, our solutions, and each one of these little blue circles represents a team leader in our company that owns this and manages it. They're responsible for all of it. SEO. SEO is, if you go to Google or any other search engine, you type in whatever your keyword search is, you hit enter. Everything that shows up organically, other than the 3 to 6 paid ads, that's all organic. And there's a lot you can do. It's not a short-term solution for people that want to invest in SEO, whether it's time, money, resources, or energy. SEO is the long game. And I like to tell people, think about a giant battleship or a giant aircraft carrier. That's SEO. Like if I leave the port here just over in San Diego and I'm in an aircraft carrier and I get halfway to Hawaii and the captain goes, you know what, we got to turn around. We forgot something. It was the keys to the kingdom. We got to turn around. It takes a while for that ship to turn around. That's SEO. Search engine marketing, otherwise known as PPC, pay-per-click marketing, that's fast. I can put an ad up, whether it's on Google or Bing, which is also Yahoo. I can get an ad up in days. I can start showing up in front of my potential customer literally in hours. That's more like being in a ski boat out here at Lake Pleasant or Lake Bartlett, and Breck and I are running out to go wake surfing, and Breck goes, you know what? I left my car running. Hamburger, turn around, and I can whip that boat around real quick. That's search engine marketing. Social media marketing for you guys. It's both the paid ads you see inside all the different social media campaigns, social media platforms, but it's also how people market on the page. You'll hear terms like attraction marketing or magnetic marketing. We really put that inside the social media side. Web design, web development, sales funnels, those are assets along with a chatbot. And again, I don't mean to insult anybody's intelligence, but if you've been on a Facebook page and all of a sudden the message pops up and it feels like you're talking to a real human, a lot of times those are pre-programmed and they're chatbots. And with the influx of AI, it's pretty crazy what we can do, what we were doing in 2017, 2018 with chatbots. And I know that we've got what I see a little bit of an older crowd. I don't know that I see anybody in their 30s or 20s, right? So you guys remember Fax on Demand or an IVR call tree where you pre-program everything? Chatbots, we set them up the same way. And there's pretty crazy what you can do in a chatbot. You can create an entire sales process, customer support process, all kinds of pieces that go along with it by preloading the chatbot. And somebody feels like they're having that interaction. A lot of them will make it look like it's got the 3 dots coming across, so you can make it feel like somebody's actually sitting there typing, and it's just the bot. All through, I can go through each list here, but I think one of the main ones that I want to talk about with you guys is social media management. It's what you're putting out there on an organic side and the interaction that you're having with your potential customer, your eyeballs, your viewers. And I can tell you this, in this space that I'm in as an agency, we do a lot of social media management, but to get engagement, content's king, engagement's queen. I'm married 20 years. I like to say, yeah, I'm the king of the castle when she lets me. It's great if you have the content out there because you have to start somewhere. But if it's just like if somebody's putting a blog out there and it's your mom or your kid or your friends in the neighborhood, they're the only ones that are watching that and paying attention, do you really have engagement? Social media management, I can tell you in our space, it's tough to get engagement in the agency space. And but I tell you this, don't oversee that or don't miss a step. All the social media that we put out for our agency, it's not to create engagement anymore. It's to create due diligence. When somebody that I've talked with or talked to one of our team members Googles the company and they end up on our litany of social media channels, you're going to see there's a ton of content there. We do a little bit of what I call the humble swagger, braggadocious with a Heisman, but doing it in a classy, tactful way that doesn't come across over the top. And that's a critical component today because I feel that the sales environment, whether it used to be belly to belly, look, we're in a networking group. My original networking groups I've been a part of, we used to, go hang out together in ballrooms. As part of the networking Phoenix group for years with Gelly. We'd ended up at the Talking Stick. Here you do belly to belly, and we'd all have business cards. And here we are hanging out virtually. I know some of you guys are in the UK. I'm here in Scottsdale and was plugged in last month from Florida. And I know there's other people that aren't here in Arizona. I really feel that as times change, we have to stay hip to the times, and social media management's a big piece of that. I won't bore you with who I am or who my partner is. We've been doing this together. We had 2 different agencies. We put them together in 2018. I'm really blessed to have one of the greatest business partners I've had in my life. Guy's just incredible and really elevated the game here at Easy. We got a great team of guys. It's just a handful. These are our some of our team leaders. Like I said, each one runs a different department. What I really want to do is I want to give you guys something here. So if you will, just take out your phone. I'm going to give you a course that we just developed specifically for meta ads, like understanding, and our whole philosophy is like what you should know before you hire an agency like us. And you know, I know I put the website on here too. Let me see something. All right, well, it's not going to pop up, but if you guys need the actual website, happy to share that with you. But what I want you to do is I want you to take out your phone. You have a smartphone. Take out your smartphone, open your camera, and just literally point it at that easy QR code, and you should see a link that'll pop up. And you just put your information in, and we're going to teach you some of the pillars that you're going to want to know if you're going to place any kind of ads in the meta universe, if you will. See if there's any questions down here as well. Yeah, I'm still part of the network live with Kathy and her husband. Whoever said that, and Kelly's awesome.
Yeah, we missed you in Tempe then, Michael.
Say it again, Paul.
We missed you on Tuesday night then at the Hamburger, and it was at your place at the Hamburger Inn or Hamburger Village, something in Tempe was our Tuesday meeting. So
you'll see me a lot of those, especially when they're on this side of town. I know one of my dear friends, Michael Burnoff, is going to be speaking at their upcoming event. Paul, I train jujitsu at night, so I like to go get choked by my friends and armbarred by my friends, and I had a commitment Tuesday night with jujitsu. So let me know the next one, and I'll definitely love to meet you in person and hang out and enjoy an iced tea together. But I'd love to just, if I can stop the screen share, I'd love to just jump in and answer questions for you guys and gals. Anything I can do to assist. Let me just get this moved over so I'm looking at the camera. All right.
All right. I've got my hand up first. So I'm going to,
Perfect.
First question is remarketing.
Remarketing. What about it?
Yeah. So it seems pretty sneaky, but very effective, right? When somebody is looking at a website, a popular website, and you redirect them to your product or service.
We share with our customers the most expensive part of getting the eyeball is the initial eyeball, right? And so they click on an ad of yours. I like to use the Hansel and Gretel. You know, they left breadcrumbs. Well, as digital marketers, we put what we call a cookie, and it's a pixel. So we basically put it inside the head, not to get too technical, but just like one little pixel on that website is where we hide it. And then so like if you got kids or someone else, a wife or a husband that has been on your computer, if you've been car shopping and you've been on cars.com or any of those sites, I was car shopping for my 16-year-old beginning of the year. And it was amazing. I'd go to cars.com and then I'd end up at Facebook or one of the news sites that I happen to peruse. And there's the exact same car, like literally the same car I was looking at, following me around. Yeah. If it costs them to run an ad, say it costs them $20 for me just to click on an ad on Google, then to remarket is costing them pennies. So they're able to chase you around. I'm a big advocate. One of my largest accounts just moved over he hired us for SEO and reputation management, and he just fired his other agency and brought us aboard. This guy spends $16,000 a day right now, which is down tremendously from where he was. And what we discovered last week is that he's got no remarketing going. And that, to me, that's just asinine. It's like, wait a second, the timing may not be right. If somebody's looking for his type of offer, they're at work, boss comes in, they get distracted, the website gets closed, there's an update, and now you've lost that opportunity. They didn't input their information, so now they're not on a SMS blast list, or not in their autoresponder, not getting nurtured back to, man, I wish I could remember where that XYZ was. And now they show it up on Fox News or CNN or whatever site they happen to be going to, and it'll follow you around the internet. So yeah, it's a great use of funds. It's a great use of marketing prowess. There's definitely some ways that I'd recommend that you utilize some of the tools and systems that are out there, so you can know through tagging where they are in the process. If there's a video, let's say that Murray's got a video that he's got on his website, and I'm on his site and I happen to watch just 30 seconds of it, but it's a 5-minute video. A lot of the retargeting tools would tell Murray, hey, he's watched it for 30 seconds, so the intro's there, but let's go ahead and move him down the funnel, right? So you've got the top of the funnel, which is big and broad, and then it gets down lower to where you sift out the people that are looky-loos, and as they get closer to the people already make a buying decision. So yeah, Breck, remarketing, retargeting, I recommend at least 10% of your ad budget, your ad spend budget should go there. Again, you're going to get a lot of push from that 10%, as much so as you would from the other 90% if you're doing it right. Great question. And
Patrick.
I see Patrick has his hand up. Patrick, did you want to ask me a question?
Yeah, Michael, so interesting. Breck and I are going to move in with you after this.
Perfect, because my business partner's never here, and I've been trying to rent his office for years now.
Listen, what's your strategy or your guidance in relation to products that are low value, medium value, and high value?
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
When you're marketing products, you can make a choice whether they be
Yes.
low value, medium value, or high value. So is your strategy, what's your thinking around that? Could you open that one up, please?
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that for me. You know, for me, I always look at ROI, or what's called ROAS, return on investment or return on ad spend. You know, the client that I just mentioned that spends $13,000 a day, he's got a $97 offer that upsells to a $297 offer. And I can tell you it costs us more than the $97 to create a sale for him. But that leads to a $4,000 sale, that leads to a $10,000, to a $15,000 and $25,000 sale. So we look at, and I've got an ad spend calculator I can bring up and show you real quick, something that I built a couple years ago. Let me bring this up, and I literally will show you how I look at it, because it's all based on return on ad spend. And then we look at things like lifetime value, right? So can you guys see the calculator I have up here?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's use this. This is a client who has an insurance product called Ethos, right? So I ask him, okay, what's your ad spend per month? $10,000. Then I use tools on the internet to come up with what's the guesstimated CPC, or cost per click. So if it costs him $28 every time somebody clicks an ad of his on Google, I know I can generate 347 clicks a month for him. Now, then I ask people, and they always overshoot. I love to be on the super low end. I get very conservative when I use this tool. But for this gentleman, he closes about a third of the, not close, about a third of the people that look at his website actually input their name to get whatever the freemium or whatever the offer is, whether it's to get information, get a quote, etc. So if I know that of the 347 people that actually click on his ad, a third of them actually request information, they become a lead, I know that I have 114 potential leads. Now I know that it cost the customer $87.15 for every lead, right? If it's a low ticket offer, this may not make sense. So I would tell you in a heartbeat, hey, it's getting pricey here. But again, being life insurance, his numbers based on historical speaking, this isn't guesstimates, but historically speaking for him, he closes 3 out of 4 people that he presents to. So out of $10,000 in ad spend, he's creating about 86 sales a month. And then using just what we call LTV, or lifetime value. This is where it gets, Patrick, where you're going to want to make sure that you're really digging into the numbers. As we like to say, it has to make sense before it can make dollars. My client I was talking about, if he was just selling the 97 to 297 offer, he would spend himself out of business before he made a profit. But his LTV is north of $15,000 because so many people buy his $15,000 and $25,000 product. And it's not just they buy a $4,000 that leads them to a $10,000. Now they're in for 14. Then they buy the 15. Now they're in for 29. Right. So that LTV, lifetime value, you want to calculate what's the frequency that they're going to purchase from you. Right. Again, it starts to become scientific, if you will. But looking at this Austin with Ethos, that $10,000 is going to yield him $103,000 gross monthly revenue. And if I'm only charging him $3,000 to run his ad campaign, because we charge $3,000 up to $15,000 in ad spend, he's making $100,000 a month, or $1 million plus a year, based on spending $120,000 a year. So then again, we look at these numbers here, ROI, ROAS. for every dollar he spends, he gets $10 back. Right. So then we look at it from a percentage base. I don't know if that helps you at all or not. But yeah, the numbers, the numbers make a huge difference as to what makes sense. If you've got a small offer, we call them liquidated offers, ad liquidators. They can lead right into the bigger offer, but it's part of the nurture process, and it's about knowing what your cost of goods are, so that you're not selling yourself out of business. Does that assist you?
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my privilege. Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Michael. That's a very interesting sheet. And it's great to see the results. My question is this: when are the virtual item? I always say the best part about print on demand or anything like that is I don't have to touch it, nor do I have to make it and inventory it and all of that. It's today's world with these $15,000 and $20,000 items. Are those physical things, or are they I would say fluidish things like some inch policy or something? Where because I go to Speaker's Playhouse, I think you know that too, and they're always talking about having a high ticket item. They say, Paul, what's your high ticket item? And I say, well, I have a $47 membership thing. Well, what's your high ticket item? What's your $10,000 and $20,000 item? I'm going, I don't know, my good looks that I can sell for 20 grand for one sucker. I don't know.
Charge him more, Paul. Charge him more. Yeah, and that's a great question. So you asked what is the type of item. For one, it's a mastermind. So it's a physical in-person. Someone travels to San Diego. There's an academy. The main cost on his academy was he had to build it once and update it, but it's where you can sell it over and over. My first time selling big ticket, I sold education, and it was a physical, tangible product, but it was no different than print on demand. When my customer bought it, I bought it from the company. They drop shipped it for me, right? And that was a $2,000 course that led to an $8,000 and a $13,000 conference. So again, those were tangible, and there's real cost to it. But in today's day and age, whether you have Kajabi, ClickFunnels, drop funnels, Go High Level, there's lots of ways that you guys can really utilize the education that you have or the knowledge you have to sell it to someone else, the consumer that may be looking for something. Breck, I happen to know Breck's business because we've talked offline. Besides this, what are some of the other businesses that you guys and gals are all involved in? Paul, I know yours, but I'm just curious some of the other folks because I'm not.
This is Todd White. I can tell you kind of quickly what I do. I've got a high ticket item. I've got an in, I've got an up, and I've got a max that I work with. We do professional development, specifically executive coaching. My business model to date on the B2B side is to work with executive level teams to identify what I call that sweet spot of their mid-career professionals, probably the last third to middle third of their career. We identify a specific group of growth-minded people. We bundle them up in a contract for a year, have a weekly coaching session. I've got some people going in their third year. Beautiful. Recently, I've created a live cohort course on maven.com. So they started Udemy. Another one did Alt MBA with Seth Godin. I've got a cohort running with them right now with 12 people. But I've got my max offer is probably a bundle of 6 figures at the B2B side. And then this middle cohort levels to get those people. If careers are extremely complex and ambiguous things, we're looking to help them fix that, is the cohort piece. And then out of that cohort, I'm looking for 1 or 2 to go to individual coaching and carry that. And then the intent is based on that performance, people around them notice we want more of that. So that's me in a nutshell, but I've got my website. I've got my deliberate social engagement on LinkedIn. People aren't just going to spend $100,000 with you because you're 1 in 4 million of coaches, that kind of stuff. Right. But it's referrals, it's building credibility. So I've got my website, I've got a marketing plan, but I'm always interested in that next step and being able to scale it. You don't scale one-on-one. That's why I went for the cohort piece, but it's very much a situational fluency kind of thing. And you really need a niche market to pitch, because where do you invest your money? Hell, everybody can benefit from coaching. Not everybody's coachable. And if you've got a group of growth-minded professionals, you're going to invest. You're going to invest in your best people. You don't go out and buy a crappy stock and expect to get a return on it. So people need help to get identified to participate.
What I heard you say, Todd, is that you have an ascension model. So you have a broadcast net for people that are coming in, because it's easy to make a $97 decision versus a $100,000 decision, right? So if you can get 20,000 people that come in, and whether they become a free lead and you cut those down from 20,000 to 10,000 that have spent $10 with you to get whatever your report is, that's perfect. Then you put them through what's the ascension model, the funnel, and they slowly, they know you, like you, trust you, and then they see what's in it for me. They move from that broadcast net to your cohort to that where your big offer is. So beautiful. So obviously you get what I'm sharing here as far as going from that ascension, where as Paul said, word about the big ticket. I really only sold big ticket when I got online to start with, and so it's pretty interesting to see. We worked with a cannabis device years ago that because it was in the cannabis space, we couldn't buy media for them. We couldn't buy a Google ad or a Facebook ad, because didn't matter what state it was in, it was still illegal federally. So we did what's called SEO, and we were doing point of sale where people said best vaporizer. And this company told us that it would take them, because we want to know the turn times, right? If you run out of product, if we sell you out of product, how long does it take for you to get the product from the manufacturer back into your warehouse ready to get shipped out to? And they told us, I think 9 weeks. Somewhere in the translation, 9 weeks was really 9 months. And once we really dialed it up, we had some really cool marketing. It was called the iPod. I'll date myself here, but it was called the iPod of vaporizers, right? The company in their arrogance kept taking sales and didn't ship products. They basically sold themselves out of business. And because it was SEO, we couldn't turn the faucet off, right? It was all organic. Right. So anyway, I can get squirreled in a heartbeat and look at different areas, because as you can tell, this is not only what I do, it's a passion of mine. I love being in the digital space and helping customers. Bob, how may I assist you today?
Well, so much discussion about artificial intelligence. Are you doing anything to integrate AI? Because so many people don't know how to use it, and that's the challenge. So anything going on there?
We use it as a lead gen source. A lot of it for a lead gen source for us here. I'm not the world's best copywriter, because I write copy the way I speak, was direct to the point, sometimes not with the cleanest language. So what we did is we put together what we call our free copy generator. And there's a lot of AI out there. AI is only going to be as good as the prompts you have. So I had a friend of mine that shared this with me, and it's basically a chat GPT SEO modifier. So like, what questions should you ask, right? We've used chat GPT and some of these other early sources, like Bard is from Google. Like, I'm a chat GPT fan. I've named my chat GPT Chad, but Chad only goes to like 2001, right? Because that's the cutoff date. I'm really leaning in hard to what Google has called Bard, and they had an abysmal launch. They launched too soon as a knee-jerk reaction. Why I like Google, though, is because Google's been aggregating data about every single user, whether you're logged into a Gmail account or a YouTube account, and you're just logged into your Google account, then you're on Google. They are aggregating all that data. And actually, if you go to your Google page, you can actually see where they categorize you. Like, for me, it's easy. Right? I'm into fitness, I'm into cars, I'm into watches, I'm into jujitsu, I'm into family, church, etc. And it's interesting to see when you go to see who they think you are. I haven't seen it be wrong yet about anybody. But going back to the AI is only as good as the prompts, right? So what we did is we created something. We haven't even released it yet. I'm going to give you just a quick sneak peek. But this is a lead gen source that we're using for our company, or excuse me, we will use for our company, where we went in with our team and we basically prompted every single bit, like, where's the best headline? What's the best caption? Content's king, right? So we go in here and here's a opt-in page copy generator. So it's that first page when somebody gets there, the bridge page or the outside of the funnel, thank you page, copy generator, short sales page, right? And again, this is still being tested. I'll share this in future meetings when it's live. But you asked the question, we're not just dancing around it; we're leaning in hard, because I've just seen, like, look, I sold a website to a local insurance agent who is she's not first generation born here in America. And she sat in my office over here and she said, I want a website and I want you to do social media for us. And in the very first meeting, I said, we're not doing SEO for you because you don't have a website yet. We're not doing paid media. And 3 months later, she said, where's all my backlinks, which is an SEO term. And I said, well, you didn't buy SEO. And remember, if you remember the conversation, and I videotape every single meeting. Anytime we have an interaction with a customer, we videotape it, we archive it. Next thing you know, I get a letter from our brand new Attorney General from Arizona that I had not provided the services that this woman felt she deserved. And so I wrote the letter and then I sent it to our attorney. And in waiting, I went, you know what would ChatGPT do? My business partner said, take this letter and redo it so it's empathetic yet stern. And we took that letter, we sent it to the AG. The lady, we offered her out of her contract. The lady rejected it because she wanted what she felt she bought. We provided links, had all the ChatGPT put it in there. It aggregated everything for us, it summarized everything. It was like, look, if you watch the first, Madam AG, if you just watch the first 4 minutes of the video, you'll see that everything this lady's claim is negated. I think it's a brilliant tool, AI is. I think that not only is it brilliant, I think it can do the legwork for an entire, stable of stallions, if you will. But where it really gets tricky is it just doesn't have that human touch yet. We're in the Henry Ford crank the car with the stick in the crank in the front stage of AI, though it's been around for a long time. Your assistant on your phone has AI. When you're on Netflix and it's pulling up other shows that you may like, that's AI. But what we're seeing now for the first time is consumer. And I believe we're like ChatGPT had the fastest to, I think it was 1 billion subscribers than any other website or any other offer in the history of mankind. And so I think what we're going to see is it could be a good use for it. There's a ton of different AI out there. We use it for writing. My business partner took some photos that we had and even had a photo shoot done where it makes him look, he's got all these fancy clothes on. I'm like, dude, it doesn't even look like you. But it's amazing what it can do. I'd say lean in, but just be patient because it will. We're gonna, we'll lap ourselves many times over just before the end of the year.
Yep.
Hopefully that helps and answers your question, Bob. Anyone else I can assist with or answer any questions with today?
I was kind of wondering, Michael, a lot of people in this room may not be able to spend 10K a month in ad and may not have conversion rates that are 75%, from leads gen.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of curious what you might suggest for those type of people, that are on a very limited budget when it comes to advertising, and they still need to try to get a funnel that spits out maybe 20 people, maybe 40 people a month, something like that. I would suspect would be great. So what would be your thoughts for those that are more on the personal brand side, kind of selling services and so on?
Phenomenal question, by the way. Start small. Start with a $5 per day ad budget just to start getting a conversion or two. Right. And then and I would say there's a lot of tools out there that you can download. Heat mapping is going to be crucial. That way you can follow, the technology is not there yet where you can follow the eyeballs on the screen, but you can follow the mouse on a website. So I'd say get some heat maps so you can actually see what the user is doing. Make sure that you have your analytics tied in. Google just moved from Universal to GA4. I may be saying it backwards. Forgive me if I am. But, I would definitely say start small with an ad budget, get a conversion or two. And then from there, then you can start reinvesting your ad budget. I ran an internet marketing college just on the other side of the runway here in Scottsdale for many years. We would teach business owners like yourself, Murray, how to start small. I put my wife in that course, and my wife has been a stay-home mom since since we first got together, long before we had kids. She just had the big baby to take care of herself. And I put her in that class. It was a Google ad class and a Facebook ad class that we offered. And I keep the note that she left on my screen. She said, "Hey, your wife just placed her first Facebook ad." And so she put together like a little Shopify store with called Small Paws at the time for people with small pets. And then another one for people that were into wine and stuff like that called Wine Not. And all of a sudden she started getting conversions, right? It was just something she wanted to do just to see if what we were actually were training on would work. And it did. But I would recommend, looking at it. There's a lot of resources out there, Murray. If you're not the creative type, and I'm not, I use Canva quite a bit myself for stuff that I have, but I also have a graphics team on board, as well as a creative director here in Phoenix that works with us full time. But there's a lot of tools out there. Your presentation, as far as what your first, that what do they call it, curbside appeal. If you're in the real estate space, people are going to judge you the moment they get to your website. So think more of like what, light colors, trust colors versus, reds and darks. I tell you, go with light browns and light blues. Those are super great conversion colors. Look at the heat mapping, start small, figure out what your offer is, and then see, all you got to do is get that first conversion. And then it's like, I get leads all the time, people that call me here at the office because we show up organically #1 in the Scottsdale digital marketing Google return in what's called the 3-pack snack pack. And I bring that up because I ask people when they call, "Where'd you find me?" Because I want to know where they found me so that I can lean in more. As I shared, when I first got out of the Marine Corps, I worked in telecom and data. And back then, people paid for this thing called long distance. I know most of us know what that was like. And I worked for one of the off carriers that was going against AT&T, the one that started with the M. And our big sale was like, "Hey, you don't pay for a whole minute, you pay for a 6-second increment." But when I would sit down with business owners, I didn't realize that the lessons that I was learning then were going to pay dividends throughout my career. I'd sit down with a business owner that had a multi-location mortgage office and say, "Hey, each office needs 5 or 10 800 numbers, and each 800 number is going to be for a specific ad. So if you were doing an Atlanta Journal-Constitution, that's an 800 number. USA Today, a different 800 number. And pick every market. That way you can look at attribution." And I bring that up because you can really, Murray, look to see where that ads spend conversion is coming from, and then lean in. If your end user is hanging out on Pinterest, make sure that you're able to track that attribution back, right? And there's lots of tools out there. Meta does it, Google does it, but the analytics are going to tell you everything you need to know. The heat map's going to show you where your drop-offs may be. It always blows my mind when somebody's on a website and I go back and look at the heat map and I go, why were they clicking on that person's face? Were they expecting that to take them to another page? But yet they click on, we are the weirdest animal on the planet, us humans. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. I'm happy to dive in deeper any other time.
Paul.
Yeah, two things very quickly. I know most of you know this, but if you have a nonprofit organization, Google wants to they will give you $10,000 of their money. They won't give you cash, but they want you to spend 10 grand a month. So this way you know how to spend it very fruitfully now, thanks to listening to Michael. So just reminding people that 10 grand, if you're a nonprofit, I don't think it applies though if you're self-nonprofit. Somehow they don't buy that. But anyway, also on the emails, I don't know if people know this, but if you have a Gmail address, like I don't know, whatever, bob@gmail.com, you can do a Bob plus, the plus sign, and anything you want. And that is a valid email address. And then you can change it again. So when Michael's talking about having those different emails, you can almost see those emails with those, Bob plus ad 1, Bob plus Facebook ad, and it will divide those up for you. And then with other programs, you can manipulate it and have some fun with Gmail. So, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's something that we do with clients as well. So it's a great point to actually see attribution there as well. Well, I want to make sure that I'm respectful of time and not going over. I see we're a couple minutes before the top of the hour. Thank you so much for allowing me the privilege of coming out and sharing a little bit with you all today. And if I can be of any value or service, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate that, and always learn something new at these events. So thank you for presenting, and we do definitely need to, I need to come up and we just need to sit down and look at this project. It launches in 4 weeks. After hearing everything that you're able to do, I need to make sure that the lab can keep up with the numbers, you know, so that we don't do what your one client did and you know, just grow faster than they could deliver. Yeah, excellent.
I'm looking forward to it. I welcome that anytime, Breck.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for being here this week. And next week will be, I think we have, I'll have to go back and look at the calendar, but please sign up if you have not presented in a while. We are looking for presenters. I think we have next week and the week after covered, but September certainly have openings. So if you would like to present to the group, and we'd love to hear from you. And we'll when we do our posting parties, we need to be a little more active on that. We'll talk about that later too, since we're out of time. But you brought up a good point, Michael, that if we're going to do those, we need to actually do them. I think we did too much networking and not enough actually commenting and sharing. So we'll get better at that. But thanks, everybody. I hope to see you next week. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.